Unlike our math class, a 2 doesn't always equal a 2. It changes based on the store you go to. And additionally, this just leads to poor fit, inconvenience of returns for the users, and that also burns retailers. But overall, there's a reduction in service quality too when we're ordering online. Unlike a department store, where there's a person there to help you find the sizes that work for you and tell you what works for your body type, people don't have that online. The end result is that 40% of clothing ordered online is returned, a huge loss of revenue for retailers. And 60% of consumers are citing improper fit as the reason for that return. If you look to this graphic, this is a survey we conducted with 100 different women. Poor fit by far is the leader, quickly followed by did not meet expectations. Once again, online shopping, they can't try it on, and they're not having anything that helps them get it right the first time. Now, over the next 2 years, in the online designer clothing retail industry, which is not necessarily professional women's attire, but we chose it because it was a very similar brand company to look at, they're going to be losing $4.4 million in the next 2 years due to returns. But even with this loss of revenue, it's projected to grow 17.2% in the next 5 years. So you have an exciting situation where there's incredible growth, but also need that is currently unmet. And this was what inspired Ben Brooks to form Transforming Fashion. He came to us with this original vision, a vision to truly change the way people shop and get it right 100% of the time. To walk you through this process, these would first answer a series of questions to form a style database, kind of like a style diagnostic if you can think about it, getting to know their unique tastes. From then, they would have a 3D body scan taken. This 3D body scan would give us accurate measurements of the person that are unbiased as tape measures can be, and also less invasive. Then, the data taken from the 3D body scan would be used to create a fully realistic avatar of the person. Think of a digitized version of yourself that you can try clothing on. It's a virtual fitting room tool. And then, additionally with that technology, there's a computer-controlled mannequin. Now think of this as the last check. You order something online, and then this mannequin would inflate to your dimensions, gathered from the 3D body scan, and that would be used to make sure, just seeing if it fits just right. Once again, ensuring 100% of the fit. Now, none of these technologies would work without having precise clothing dimensions gathered from retailers. That means we don't know just the sizing, we know the inches and the centimeters that actually make up the clothing. And additionally, retail partnerships are incredibly important, because Transforming Fashion isn't a clothing manufacturing company, it's a clothing service company, bringing in the technology to make it better. Now, quickly on in our research, we found out that the fully realistic avatar and the computer-controlled mannequin were not appropriate for Transforming Fashion right now. The fully realistic avatar is about 6 years away from being real-time. So currently, if we did it, it would be incredibly expensive, and also people would be waiting 4 hours to see a not that good version of themselves trying on a dress. Not appropriate for Transforming Fashion. The computer-controlled mannequin, the research there is right now in universities primarily, so it's very expensive and it's not quite refined yet. So it's actually not as good as the 3D body scan as far as accuracy goes. But even without these two technologies that would help us get 100%, Transforming Fashion can make meaningful progress in this industry. We recommend that Transforming Fashion incorporate 3 technologies: the style database, 3D body scanning, and photo recognition, and using women's professional clothing to prove that they can get fitting right for online shopping. We want to emphasize at this time that this is not just a starting place for Transforming Fashion. It's a chance to establish leadership in the industry, change consumers' demand, and show retailers the value of partnering with Transforming Fashion. And with that, Sophie Torres can explain to you why we chose women's professional wear as our target market.
Thank you, Marie. The people who will benefit from Transforming Fashion services the most are ones who value convenience. We've concluded that professional women will value convenience the most because they lead very busy lives and also have to balance their professional life along with their personal demands. Therefore, convenience is a critical factor in their lives. We recommend that Transforming Fashion target women between the ages of 20 to 65, and we've broken this target group into 2 subgroups. The first one is women between the ages of 20 to 45. We recommend that Transforming Fashion markets to these women through social media and also the Transforming Fashion website. For women between the ages of 46 to 65, we recommend that Transforming Fashion markets to these women through referrals from partner retailers.
The
52% of our target market holds about 52% of the management, professional, and other related occupations in the United States, and they spend about $956 annually on online shopping. This is a huge market, and we can capture a piece of that pie by utilizing the right technology and also taking the right steps in order to carry out Transforming Fashion's overall vision. Now Victor will give you a quick overview of the technology that we recommend Transforming Fashion to utilize.
Thank you, Sophie. So the first technology that I'm going to discuss is the 3D body scan. And 3D body scans are, well, at first they were widely criticized for privacy, but nowadays people are getting more used to the 3D body scans technology. And in research shows that in 4 to 5 years, these will become actually really common. And I've seen from low end to high end 3D body scans, and as low end as the Xbox Kinect, you would stand there and you would take pictures of yourself while you rotate, and that would calculate and give you an, well, not so accurate, but really close to your measurements. And I've seen customized scanners such as that they take 15 minutes to build, and they only take 3 seconds to scan your whole body, really precise. And the way this is going to help Transforming Fashion is that this will get your precise measurements, and this will eliminate the poor fit and the size anonymity that we see in the returns. And in the custom wear, I cited TC Squared, a custom apparel, Afterlink, and Meowly. The first 3 are using this technology currently in men's formal wear. So you would go to their shops, you would get a 3D body scan, get a custom suit made to your measurements. And Meowly uses 3D body scan in a mall, in a kiosk mall, and they would recommend jeans for you that will fit. So this next technology is the image recognition technology. So you can use this through an app, and there are several apps actually that you could get. There's Cortexica, there's Slice, there's Closet. This is an example of Closet. And the way it works is you take a picture of something that you would like, in this case, a business suit, and it would throw you up with similar or the exact same suit that you took a picture of. So this will eliminate the hassle, will make it more portable and more fun for the user. And this would just compare to database of photos with our partners, and we would only drive demand for them. And multiple companies actually license image recognition software. And actually Macy's is partnering with Cortexica, and Neiman Marcus with Slice. And Slice claims to be extremely precise and guarantees 95% of the time you will get the product or a really close match to the product. And style database, we call it the final filter. So this is really simple, and the technology is already out there. This is basically building your own profile, the colors that you like, the threads that you like in your suit, 2-button, 3-button, the length of your skirt. So this is really simple, and it's the easiest technology to use. And this will drive demand for specific products. And with this, combining the image recognition technology and the 3D body scan, it is guaranteed for a satisfactory buy. And now Shelby Booth will guide us through alliances and competition.
Thank you, Victor. As Marie mentioned earlier, it is really critical that Transforming Fashion begins to enter this market of women's professional wear right away. We want to be able to prove to the customers that we can both combine a unique set of technology, as well as show that we can accurately capture professional women's preferences and needs in this market. Proving ourselves to the market right now is really important because there are already many competitors that are trying to do similar things as Transforming Fashion. Through our research, we determined that TrueFit is our main competitor. Now, this is a website that you go online, it's free for users, and you enter in measurements that you take manually using a tape measure. And these measurements are cross-referenced with the data on clothing with your retail partners online, and then it gives you what clothing would best fit you from these retail partners. The reason why TrueFit is our biggest competitor is because of the sheer amount of partners that they have already. They're already partnered with over 600 brands and work with big name stores such as Macy's, Nordstrom, and Brooks Brothers. In the 2014 holiday season alone, they had 1.2 million new subscribers, which is just a ton of people that are looking to utilize this type of service. Some other competitors in this field include Meowly, which as shown in the picture on the screen, list of stores and jeans that would best fit their body type based on the information gathered by that 3D body scan. A Custom Apparel is another indirect competitor. They are a men's suit shop. It's a brick and mortar store. You have to go in, but you get a 3D body scan, and you get to physically choose what type of suit you would want, like what color thread, what type of buttons and cuffs, etc. And they will custom make a suit that fits exactly your body type. Fits Me is a company that has an online mannequin that kind of, not accurately, but displays sizing of clothes, or the size of clothes on a mannequin of approximately your dimensions. And 54 Club is a clothing line that users pay a monthly fee, and they input their basic sizes and preferences, and they are sent a new outfit every month from that specific line. However, none of these companies, although they are trying to implement bits and pieces of the transforming fashion vision, are using technology the way that transforming fashion would. Our combination of technology is what's going to make us ahead of the competition because it's going to have the highest possible convenience and accuracy for shoppers. TrueFit is identified with that red icon on the screen, and it is really high in convenience because you get to enter your measurements online at home. But it isn't as accurate because you're having to take these measurements yourself, and they're not using that 3D body scanning technology. Reality, on the other hand, is high in accuracy. It utilizes 3D body scan, but it's not as convenient because you still have to go into the mall. Once you get your list of jeans that would possibly fit you, you still have to walk from store to store to store to still pick up a pair of jeans that you want. TrueFit combines the highest accuracy and convenience because it has that 3D body scanning technology, which makes it really accurate. But it also uses user preferences in order to get them the best outfit for their unique style, besides just their unique body type. It's also really convenient because it combines online shopping in your home with like a wide variety of retail partners that we hope to gain. So this is what puts us ahead of the competition. In order to be the highest in convenience and accuracy, however, Transforming Fashion needs to begin forming strategic alliances with both retailers and the licensors of technology. Retail partnerships are especially important for Transforming Fashion because partnerships with reliable retailers will increase the positive reputation that Transforming Fashion needs as a new company. By partnering with retailers that already have customers that love and know their clothing, customers will know that they can trust and want to use our service as well because the stores that they want to buy from are already working with us. Some aspects that really make up an ideal retail partner for Transforming Fashion is one that has a nationwide presence, that sells women's professional attire, and that has a positive sales growth. Some companies that fall into this category include Macy's, Neiman Marcus, and Nordstrom. This type of partnership is also really important because it gives us access to that really detailed information on clothing that Marie mentioned earlier. Now, not just small, medium, large, or 2, 4, 6, 8. Like, it gives you the actual measurements of clothing that can then be cross-referenced with your body scan data, and it will therefore give you the best possible fit and the best service that we can as a company. Another important type of partnership is the licensors of technology. Now, this is good because all the technology that Transforming Fashion wants to implement into our business plan is already in use and has been created. We don't have to create any of this ourselves. Some Unique Solutions has the patent behind Reality, which is the jeans, the 3D body scanning for the jeans, and a Custom Apparel, the 3D body scanning for the men's tailored suits. And 5 Cents, Cortexica, and Slice are 3 different software companies that already have the photo recognition app technology that we would want to use for Transforming Fashion. These licensors of technology are a really simple partnership because we know this is great for Transforming Fashion, we know it's already able to be used, and it's just a matter of price and how much Transforming Fashion is going to pay in order to make their full vision come true with this technology. And now Sophie will go a little bit more into the financials behind what will get Transforming Fashion on its feet.
Thank you, Shelby. We've estimated that Transforming Fashion needs about $668,000 in total funding, and we've broken up the funding into 3 stages. The first stage is the seed stage, which the funds will go towards product and service development, market research, hiring new employees, formation of retail partnerships, and also the licensing of technology. The second stage of funding, which is Series A funding, will go towards supporting the early stage operations of the business since the business can probably not yet be profitable. The last stage of funding is Series B funding, and this will go towards launching a major marketing campaign and then also hiring new employees to help support the operations of the business in addition to supporting the expansion and growth of the company as a whole. We consider Transforming Fashion to fall into the software as a service industry. Therefore, we use the industry industry norms or numbers and margins to come to our EBITDA. Our sources of revenues would come from sales commission, advertising fees, membership fees, and then also the sale of some consumer data. As you can see, EBITDA is high in the third year, and then it will fall down to about $20,000 in the fourth year due to the fact that research shows that the 3D body scanning technology will become mainstream within 2 to 5 years. Therefore, we expect a lot of competitors. To compensate for that and to ensure our competitiveness, we increase our marketing and R&D expenses in year 4 in order to see higher EBITDA in year 5. When an investor looks at whether they should invest in a firm, they look at their financial traction and their financial outlook. But they also look at how well the entrepreneurial team can carry out the mission and vision and execute the goals of the firm. Therefore, we recommend that Transforming Fashion hire 4 key employees. The first one that they should hire is a project manager to manage the daily operations of the business, in addition to conducting market research and hiring future employees. The second person that should be hired is the R&D champion, and this person should be hired during the product development phase. They should have extensive knowledge of the technology that Transforming Fashion plans to utilize, and then also help with the website development and licensing of the technology. The third person that should be hired is a sales expert. This person should come in later on at the latter end of the product development phase, and they should also have extensive knowledge of the technology and also help with the formation of retail partnerships. Last but not least, the financial manager should enter the firm before the Series A funding in order to help the entrepreneur find the right investors for the firm and for other future funding stages. And they should also help manage the financial statements and support the growth of the business in the future. Now that we've covered the financial aspects of the business and then also the key employees needed to carry the vision forward, Marie's going to close with us today and explain to you the recommended steps that we have for Transforming Fashion going forward.
Thank you. All right, so on the screen right now, we've displayed just a few of the partnerships our competition already has. And largely this competition is getting out there because with all these professional women we had talked about and their spending habits online, that's a $30 billion market right there. And we've also seen that the technologies exist to greatly change the way that people shop online and satisfy the need that these professional women have. We can prove that we can get accuracy and convenience for shopping online. But if Transforming Fashion is going to succeed in this, by the time they have their next conference meeting, we suggest they start forming that strategic team because leadership must be established quickly in this fast-moving industry. With that, we'd like to open up the floor for questions.
So, nice job. Very nice job. Nice presentation. I like the way that you kind of mixed and matched. I thought, well, yours was really short, and she got kind of short, really short straw on this thing, but then you came back. So it was really nice to use all the different sort of skills and talents in presentation. I thought it was well organized. You had some really good data. You have a huge challenge. Very crowded market. I have a lot of questions. The first question I guess I'll ask is, have you considered how the rapid transformation, I mean, at the University of Texas, we're doing the same thing. We're sending people home. Dell, today, I have lots of friends and spent 7 years of my life there, so I know from personal experience, they're sending people home to work. They plug in once a week, once a month to come to a conference room to do a presentation, and they go home and work in their jammies and their community. How does that, have you comprehended that change in sort of the dynamics of the workforce in the long-term viability of the product?
We didn't actually consider the movement back home, but something that we do know is that even to get the interview, you need a suit. And this is something that, from our surveys that we found, there's a dissatisfaction among people with women's clothing and finding things that fit professionally. But that will be something to consider how we can maintain our competitive edge. But also, there's great opportunity for expansion as we go forth. Professional women is where we intend to start to prove ourselves and really get that brand recognition. But there's so many different facets of clothing, different genders, different age groups as well.
So the target of women in the workplace is just an entry point, but the idea is to grow from there into other gender fashion and other modes of fashion, possibly, not just professional.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Couple of questions. One, I always like to look at something like this and say, hey, would my wife use it? She'd love something like it. It'd be fantastic. I see two issues. One is the logistics challenge of you have to have a 3D body scan to make this work. But you're targeting online sales, which means that you're going to have a brick and mortar partner or some kind of partner to be able to go into. And now you're going to go into a place where someone else already has an advantage or somebody else already is first starter. So how do you plan on doing that? Marketing to online, but yet you have to get a brick and mortar to buy off on it. Let's answer that one, and then I'll ask you something about financials.
That largely goes with what 3D body scanner we choose. There's the Connect, which could offer home things, but also you are still having that disadvantage of going into a retailer one time to get the scan, but that data can be used multiple times. But that is true. That is the initial inconvenience, but long term, it will make online shopping much easier.
That part I get, but how do you do it? Okay, I'm gonna go to Neiman Marcus and say, hey, I've got great new technology. I need you to take up space that's generating X amount of dollars right now per square foot. I need you to give it to me to put something in there that will drive online sales, not foot traffic that's going to be coming in. See where the disconnect is?
True.
So how do you address that?
I think we also talked about this does decrease the convenience, but possibly having our own centralized location, like a transforming fashion body scan that's really quick and easy. You walk in, takes 10 minutes, and then you're done until your body changes or you want another scan to be more accurate. So we could get a high-tech scanner that we would invest money in and not have to ask retailers to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still up in the air with what our sponsor would want to do, whether he wants it out of someone's home or his own convenience. Because you're right, that would decrease the revenue of a retail partner. So it's.
In addition, with the 3D body scanning, we're licensing the technology, so maybe in the future it might be more expensive to license. So part of our R&D costs will go towards researching how we can develop an app that will allow our consumers to scan their body from their home accurately. And so that's one of the part of the R&D cost.
So that kind of leads into the financial portion of this. You show basically a $26 billion market where women are out buying that. But maybe I wrote it down wrong, but you said that retailers are losing $4.4 million in revenue. So you're taking
On returns.
Yeah, you're taking very, very a small issue, and it's reflected in your earnings growth and your revenue growth. You're saying let's spend $600,000 to in 4 years generate $137,000 worth of EBITDA. So from a value proposition, that's a pretty big disconnect.
And that was actually the $4.4 million. We used the proxy industry of online designer clothing sales, which is a more specific market. We looked at that to see the nature of that, but women's professional clothing actually extends past that. But that was the market we chose to look at as kind of a case study.
I didn't see anything in the presentation that reflected this. Maybe you've done this as a backstory. Have you talked to any of the retailers about the product and the solution and why you're better, cheaper, faster? What's been the reaction?
We haven't been able to get any retailers so far.
Might be something you want to do is actually talk to the market and see if anybody really cares about this, and how do they size their market, and how do they size this as fitting into the business plan?
I think we've talked to a lot of people that are willing to use it, and although we don't have the contacts to really get in touch with big retailers, the fact that so many people are really dissatisfied with online shopping, especially because that's what a lot of people want to do because from their home. I think we've used the fact that a lot of individuals would be willing to be a part of this, that we're hoping that the loss of revenue due to returns and the amount of people that are willing to do this will be enough for retailers to want to be our partners. But you're correct, we should do further research.
The reason I ask is that there are products and solutions like this in the market, as you've already discovered. A lot of people have at this around the world. I've seen solutions like this in 5 countries already where we're working. And so there's a lot of people who are trying to get into a very crowded space, and that's where they've run into the issue. It's, I've got a groundswell, which maybe is a small little break, but it's a swell of some sort, of people who want to do this, but the retailers really don't care. It's not as our colleague here pointed out, it's not a big enough issue that I'm feeling the pain. So you might want to size that. Which brings me to another question. You were talking about transforming fashion as they rather than we. Is there a reason for that? Are you sort of consulting for a different team, or are any of you going to be involved in this?
We are consulting for Transforming Fashion, not part of the team.
Okay.
I think that's the case for every project here today.
Is it, okay, that's just like
They're-
my
the
lack
teams
of
are actually
understanding. Got it, okay, that makes sense, thank you.
I see your biggest challenge of all is invasion of privacy. To me, I think typically a woman, not a guy, but a woman is not willing or wanting to go into any kind of a retail place where there's someone else is observing their scan. To me, that's a huge, huge hurdle. And to me, until an app, an Android, iOS app can be developed, where you could do it at home, to me, that's the key. That's the patentable, intellectual property that you need to start this business. And until that comes along, I see a real challenge in starting this thing from ground zero. I really do.
I think that's probably the biggest point
Yeah.
by far, because I look at when my wife uses
I was
it.
gonna say the exact same
Yep.
thing, because for me personally, I wouldn't go into a store. and
No
do
way.
that. Not gonna
And let
happen.
them know every inch of your
Yeah.
body.
I don't want people to know how much I weigh, I don't want, I mean, no, not gonna happen.
Having the convenience of home, to me, you would just have every retailer signing up, let's do it. And then have links to all the different retail stores, and to me, that's so key.
And just to make sure we're on the same page, when the 3D body scan takes, it's not like the airport where it's like shows your figure in an x-ray. It's actually just taking that and then data is extracted from that, so it's like a list of tailor measurements that comes out. So there's not actually any imaging involved. It's just extracting that raw data of your points, which the consumer doesn't actually have to see how big their hips are, but the transferring fashion service will.
Well, but hang on a second, because you just talked about, you said it's not necessarily applicable now on doing the mannequin, et cetera. But one of the key points on this is don't just show me a coat. Show me a coat that, what it's gonna look like on me. So whether you're doing imaging or whether you're building an image based off of there's gonna be an image.
Is there actual IP in this? I mean, is there something proprietary in the software and the implementation?
From us talking to our law team, we didn't see any immediate chance for us to patent anything for ourselves. Our process just overall, it's combining the technologies not exactly in a unique way.
So
We're
it's
trying to
taking
do this
existing
technical way.
technologies and plugging them into a solution for it.
Yeah.
But if they were to develop like the app, or they could be one of the first ones in 3D, they would have some capitalized, like Mike said.
Yeah, I have a question for Victor too. As you looked at the technology, because I think one of the key things is a very inexpensive way to do it. And you alluded to like an Android app or an iPhone app. You mentioned the Xbox, I think,
Yeah,
has a scan type thing.
the Kinect is actually, you can take a body scan of yourself, and it gives you like kind of this green image of
Yeah.
yourself, and it gives you your measurements, but it's not extremely precise, but it is kind of precise.
Was there any other solutions that you saw that were incredibly inexpensive or used like an iPhone or a phone? in order to-
People are starting to develop like
Yeah.
webcam abilities, but I don't think it's very accurate yet, so we didn't look into that extensively. Because when our sponsor gave us, he wanted like the most accurate he could possibly get. But there are things in development that could be at home. It just, you have to kind of sacrifice a little bit of accuracy. But maybe that's what people are gonna want to do, is like, they'd rather do it for more convenience, it's just on that scale of convenience versus accuracy.
Also, in the Kinect, I saw that like around 4 years ago, there was this video on YouTube, and there was this person like taking a body scan of himself, and like they developed a software to take your measurement from it, and a company bought it, and it's actually right now kind of giving it for free, and it gives you like, you need to download this thing to your Windows computer, then it have this connect to your computer connectivity, and like they're trying to develop a more accurate way for your Kinect to actually take the body scan, but it is still the development phase, and this company just launched like 2 months ago.
Yeah, see, one of the concerns I see, you got a company like TrueFit that adds 1 million users in a month and is way ahead, 600 vendors, 600 retailers. And while their company is focusing on being precise and coming up with this expensive infrastructure to measure, they're selling it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they'll figure out a cheap way to do it with an iPhone app, and then they're still like years ahead of you. And
Yeah.
so you're kind of at a stagnation because you're waiting for this infrastructure. It's very tough to launch that. I think.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to use like photo recognition as like an add little different from but you're correct, like a little different from the current companies, like hopefully that would give us an edge in some aspects of people that really value their cell phone versus maybe shopping directly online. So.
Yeah. The logistics of trying to partner with retailers all across the nation with scanners is just impossible. I mean, effectively. Especially with the numbers you're talking about. I mean, 600,000 doesn't even
no
touch it,
chance.
unfortunately.
Great presentation. Nice start, very clever start.
Yeah.
Presentation.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.